Hi there again. It's Crafty Kristen with Ministry to Children, and I hope you're ready to get creative because I have 3 crafts for us today that have to do with our gospel lesson. We're talking about Matthew 16, where Jesus tells Peter what it might cost him to be a disciple. This is a theme that we run into several times in the Gospels, the importance of putting Jesus first above all things, and what that might mean for us, and how sometimes it might make our lives challenging or uncomfortable. Well, today we're putting this in context of sort of a sports theme in a way and talking a little bit about the Olympics, how Paul has described in the New Testament that athletes go into the games hoping to win a temporary crown, but we want one that lasts forever. So I have a craft that's a crown, a craft that is a medal, and another craft that has to do with the cross of Christ and taking up that cross. And if I can get my lovely sidekick out of the way here, I might be able to actually show you those crafts. Okay, Fiona, time to move. Scooch, scooch, scooch. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a scratch-off craft. Now, this is kind of a fun one that you can do with a lot of themes, really. But you're going to simply need some kind of paper or cardstock. You're going to need maybe some scissors if you want to cut it out and get fancy, and crayons for sure. Now, what we're going to do, I've already gotten mine started for the sake of time, so I'll show you what it is we're going to do. One other thing that you will need for this is some sort of a sharp object, maybe a pointy pencil or toothpicks. So get ready for that. So what I've got here is I started out by tracing a cross. As you can see, you can do any shape, or you can just really do a large piece of paper. It doesn't necessarily have to have a pre-traced shape. And then you're going to take your crayons and you're going to layer some coloring. So you can choose whatever colors you like. Okay, really, Kat, it's not your turn. And just have the kids color. Does not have to be perfect. Really, it doesn't even have to be in the lines necessarily, because we're going to wind up cutting this whole thing out. So they can color various layers, backwards, forwards, upwards, downwards, however you'd like to do it. But obviously I'm doing kind of a fast job for our timing purposes. The important thing though with this is that you can arrange any kinds of colors as you are layering and doing your thing here. However, the last color you want to use, you want to be black. And you want to encourage children to do that black layer fairly thick. Press fairly hard with the crayon. You will see why momentarily. So I think I'm just about ready for my layer of black. Let's put one more layer of colors here. Now this is similar to some things that you can often find in craft stores or online. You can get these little things, but we're going to make our own little scratcher. So final piece will be the black part, and now comes the fun part. So once you've got your shape all colored in, now you can, depending on what you'd like to do with this, you can cut it out first, or you can do this next piece first and then cut it out. Or if you just have colored your entire paper, just covered it up with all sorts of fun colors and not bothered with anything else, then you can just trace your shapes out of it and don't worry about cutting it into another shape. But after you have demolished your black crayon by smushing it down all over the paper here, you're going to take your, you really want it to be covered if you can. You're going to take your toothpicks now, and this is the fun part. You're going to just scratch away at that top layer of black. Oops, and try not to break your toothpick. So here you can see, if you've got it nice and thickly laid on, once you scratch, you can make little, I might need to do a little more black there to really make it show up. Once you scratch off that black top layer of the crayon, and also you do want to use crayon for this because the wax is what makes it resistant. If you try and do it with markers or colored pencils, it's not going to turn out quite the same. So now you can scratch off your little pieces out of the black. So that's your fun craft number 1. And then if you want to add to this, of course, you can cut it out. You can make this a little hanging decoration. You can add a verse, of course, always recommended. And have fun with it. And again, you can do any shape. You can do your whole paper and then color or etch out the shape with your toothpick, whatever you prefer to do. So there we have it, craft number 1. And you can attach a string or something to this if you wanted to make it something to hang. Speaking of string, our next craft is going to be our medals. So what you'll need is either cardstock, cardboard, plain construction paper, or perhaps a good old-fashioned paper plate. And some coloring materials, because we're going to turn this into a fun medal for our Olympic purposes. So let's say you use your plate. This will kind of help you to make a nice even circle. It's nowhere near even, but you get the idea. And you can take home the gold or the silver or the bronze, whatever you like. And then you might caption something like, Jesus is the true prize, or the real prize, or running for the king, or some cute, catchy little thing to remind you that our ultimate prize is through Christ in heaven. And then you can, of course, color this. Throw some glitter on there if you're feeling fun and frisky. You can decorate both sides if you want it to be extra authentically metalicious. Was that a word? No, definitely was not. But hey, we're going for it. Then you're going to cut out that lovely, lovely circle. And again, get as elaborate as you want to. This is just a hasty job. After you cut it out, we're going to throw a hole punch in there. And we're going to string it up. So snip, 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 snippy, snip. Then we're going to punch a hole in it. And we're going to get some ribbon or string or whatever you'd like so that we can turn this into a wearable medal. And recommend a much better pair of scissors for one thing. String that along. And there we go, our wonderful wearable, if I didn't make it too ridiculously long, medal. Ta-da! Now, for our final craft, we're talking about how the crown of glory is not an earthly crown, but a heavenly one, and that Jesus is really the ultimate prize, that we don't have to earn him. He's already given himself for us. But we are going to make a crown. Now, you are more than welcome to use any kind of paper that you can cut and shape and size to a head and mold into a crown. Or if you happen to have a location nearby, you might pick up these oh so very generic, not from a well-known fast food place, crowns. It's really fun. You go in and you say, I'd like a small French fry and a dozen crowns, please. It works, I promise. They're really cool. But I'm not advocating one specific food place or another. Just so happens that these crowns are easy to find in certain places. Enough said about that. But you're going to take your crown or your paper that's been cut into a crown or whatever you'd like to make it out of, and you're going to liberally decorate it. What I mean by that is you have so many choices of things that you can do to have fun with this. If you happen to have handy dandy plastic jewels, you can cover this thing with jewels. And if you don't have the handy dandy peel off the little paper kind, you can of course use your glue and glue on your jewels. And then you can use, or if the paper has fallen off, then you might need to glue on your jewels as well. And then of course you can put on some fun little captions and verses. And you can add stickers if you don't have jewels. Even if you do have jewels, you can still add stickers. You can have it all. And you can throw on whatever kinds of things you like to make this fun and happy. And of course, we're not going to go too much into detail for timing purposes. Then you will size accordingly to fit your head, or the head of the child that you're working with, naturally, and have your little crown of glory. So, there you go. As always, feel free to modify, adapt, change, rearrange, do whatever you'd like to do with these crafts to make them your own, to make it a fun, special, meaningful opportunity to learn the principles behind the story, to study the gospel, and to understand and remember God's word and its messages even better. So have fun. As always, please like, subscribe. Feel free to comment below if you have additional ideas or thoughts, or if you've tried this and it worked or it totally didn't work. It's all up to you. Remember, lots of black crayons for that scratcher one. But anyways, I'm Kristen, and I hope that you have a great week. Make some crafts, make some disciples. I'll see you next time.